What is up, Scentsy fans? It's Patricia, and welcome to another week of Tester Tuesday, a spot where I review Scentsy scents with you based on what you want to hear, because you guys always vote at the end of the video. Last week we had a lot of votes, so thank you so much. And let's get into the scents. So let's talk about our first place scent for the week. It is a Rum Pum Plum. And I've been singing that song all week. Thank you, Scentsy. So this one had 33% of the vote. It's a dark maroon colored wax. It's maybe just shy of medium on cold sniff. It's an LTO, which stands for limited time offer, and Scentsy has put this in the holiday collection, which will be launching October 1st. I would put this in the bakery, but more of a fruity bakery category. So let's read the scent description. Scentsy says, sweet plum jam and vanilla sugar in a flaky, buttery crust will have you singing a delicious melody. All right, a lot of people are wondering, how is this different from sweet plum pastry? Well, I think the plum is deeper and richer in Rum Pum Plum, and it's not as sweet. And it's also not as strong. Now, I do get bakery, maybe 25% bakery, and that comes across like a buttery, I call it like a buttery cookie. There's actually a bakery called Gleneagle Bakery. They have closed down, but it reminds me of a Gleneagle Bakery dessert that had apple back in the past, but if you put like a plum jam kind of influence in there instead of the apple, that's what I feel like this smells like. So let's talk about performance, because I was a little bit disappointed in Rum Pum Plum, but I really had high hopes going into it. So I'm going to talk about the entranceway first, because that's where I could kind of pick up differences in performance. So I put it in my entranceway 2 cubes. I actually warmed this full clamshell. So I put 2 cubes in my entranceway. There's a 25-watt ceramic warmer there. And I put it in at 5 o'clock at night, which is really late. And between 5 and 10 o'clock, I left it going for 5 hours. I have a note that at that time, maximum the scent throw was about 8 out of 10. I was pleased with it. I was like, this is good. Now, mind you, I think I had the sliding door closed for testing purposes. Now, I did try it on day 2 and 3, and I left it going quite a long time because sometimes I couldn't smell it, and sometimes I could. So it was kind of one of those scents as I passed by on day 2 and day 3, I could smell it a bit more. And there's times where I thought it was dead, and then I could smell it. One thing I will say is on day 2 and day 3, it was easily overpowered by what I had going in the open concept. So I could really only smell it really well for that first day, which was a 5-hour time frame, and then it was definitely a lot lighter and harder to pick up. So I did actually also warm it in my open layout. I put 6 cubes in amongst 4 warmers there. It was probably between 5 and 6 at its max. I would say for the first maybe 3-ish hours, I could smell it quite well. Then I would say it was kind of like a background blender type of scent. And then I would kind of say it was more of a walk by the warmer, pick it up kind of scent. So it didn't really do very well in my open layout. If you have a big, tall, challenging area, I wouldn't suggest trying it there unless you really want to use a lot of wax. So if you like scents like sweet plum pastry, but you find maybe this one's a little too sweet, then pick this one up. Remember, performance is not as good in my opinion on the newer scent, and it is it's more of a deeper, richer plum and less sweet. Probably closer to pretty and plum than sweet plum pastry plum. I would definitely suggest smaller enclosed spaces. I don't know if this is just necessarily a fall and winter scent because there's not really a spicy component. I would say you could probably warm this all year round, but it is slightly heavier, so keep that in mind. And I just think enclosed spaces are important for this one because I think it's going to get lost easily if not. Some mixes I thought you might want to try with this one: vanilla bean buttercream, sugar cookie, sweet plum pastry, welcome home, winterberry apple tea, and maybe even something like happy birthday to add a little bit extra sweetness. Will I be repurchasing this one? I don't think so. I am content to wait for sweet plum pastry to come back because I did remove it from my club accidentally one time. Just be careful when you do club edits, but it was nice to try. It just didn't quite measure up to my favorite plum. So that is Rum Pum Plum. All right, let's talk about our second place scent for the week. It is Vanilla Barnwood. This one is also in the holiday collection. It had 30% of the vote. It's this beige pink colored wax. It's about light to medium on cold sniff intensity. And I would probably put this in the woods category or a woods citrus category. So let's read the scent description. Scentsy says, Barnwood covered with creamy vanilla and rich amber conjure a picturesque snow-covered countryside. I find this is a citrusy, sweet vanilla, gentle woods scent. And that's kind of the order it goes in. Now, when I smelled this on cold sniff, I knew there was something very familiar and I couldn't place it. It smelled a little bit like Pacific Sandalwood on the top, but not quite. But on the bottom, it definitely smelled like there was a citrus. Like a lemony, tangerine, clementine citrus that's very muted with a lot of sweet vanilla. And then it came to me, it reminded me of cutie pie cupcake. And I joked and said it was like cutie pie cupcake sitting on a piece of wood. And that is really the best way I can describe it to you. It sounds dumb, but when you warm this, at the beginning, it smells like a gentle, woodsy cutie pie cupcake. You even get that like Fruit Loop tendency that cutie pie cupcake sometimes has. Then as it morphs a little bit, you're getting that very sweet vanilla base with a gentle wood. And then as it morphs a little bit more, I think the amber is coming out with the woods, and it's giving it a tiny bit of a characteristic, not as heavy, not as dusty, but kind of closer to a satin sheets influence. So yeah, and I will say the vanilla is a very innocent, pure, natural vanilla. Sometimes you pick that up in certain scents, and I have no idea what the note is that Scentsy is using that makes that, but it's a really pleasant vanilla. I love that kind of vanilla, and so I really like this one. It was okay, but it didn't quite measure up to my fave, which is Pacific Sandalwood. So I think if you're wanting to try Pacific Sandalwood and you haven't, maybe pick this one up knowing it is different, but they're kind of in the same, family. Maybe they're second cousins to one another. Now, let's talk about performance, because one area it didn't do the greatest and one it did medium. So the first place I warmed it was my daughter's room. I put 2 cubes in her Moon Over Jupiter warmer, and I probably should have known better because her room doesn't do well with like airy, gentle scents. It needs like flat, heavy scents. But anyway, it was about 5 out of 10 at its max, and I left it going for about a day and a half because it was a gentle scent, but it was almost too gentle after a while. So in my room, knowing that it was struggled a tiny bit in her room, I put 2 cubes in my warmer just like normal, and I probably waited maybe 2-3 hours. It was probably about a 6 out of 10. I thought, I wonder if I can give it a little bit of help. So I put 1 cube in my tea rose. And I must say, if you've not tried the tea rose mini warmer, you definitely don't want to sleep on that. It is a really good performing warmer. Probably only can use 1 cube in it, but such a good warmer. Anyway, when I added the cube to the tea rose, it was probably about 8 out of 10. I was laying in bed one night, I think I was watching TV, and I was like, this is terrific, I can smell this. It was like the lemony, Fruit Loops, vanilla, sweetness, a little tiny bit of woods. And after a while, that kind of dissipated. Now on day 2 is much more of a woodsy, almost like a variation of a satin sheets, maybe with Pacific Sandalwood, maybe somewhere in the middle of those 2 scents. Didn't like it as much because I'm not crazy about satin sheets. So something about this reminded me of satin sheets. I think it maybe was the amber plus the wood. I don't know. But yeah, if you like any of those scents I mentioned, Pacific Sandalwood, Cutie Pie Cupcake, and satin sheets, and you could imagine them all going into the bar. Satin sheets, Pacific Sandalwood, and Cutie Pie Cupcake went into a bar. And then you might come out with vanilla Barnwood. So I think this is an all-season type of scent. I don't think it's, pigeonholed into fall and winter, even though it's released as a holiday scent. But I do think it's important to stick to bedrooms, bathrooms, or small spaces that are contained, maybe an office, and going into it knowing that it's a relaxing, soothing scent. So if you're working in your office all day, maybe at the beginning it would be good because it's a little bit citrusy at the beginning, and as the day progresses on, it kind of tells you it's time to go to bed. So will I be repurchasing this one? I don't think so. I did enjoy it. It was okay. I do still have it in my warmer. It could probably be turned on for a day 3 here, but I just haven't had the urge to turn it on. So if I do, I'll probably put it on some night, let it run its course, and then change it. But I'm glad I tried it. So that is Vanilla Barnwood. All right, let's move to the portion of the video where I'm going to present to you some scents and you guys are going to vote. If you're new to my channel, please pick 2 different scents by early Wednesday morning and put your votes down in the YouTube comments section. And if you can't do that, you can find my Instagram post. It's Patricia Gates, and put your 2 votes there. Now, I'm just going to say as a little side tangent / rant that I have pre-selected the 6 bars, but I'm really missing the box. And the reason we have to keep doing bars is because Scentsy keeps releasing new scents. I like new scents, don't get me wrong, but sometimes as a consultant, you get overwhelmed, especially with someone that reviews scents to you guys. There's only so much that we can do as consultants to get the reviews out fast enough. I mean, most of us work. So part of me wonders why so many new scents. When I'm doing my YouTube / LTO / bring back my bar voting segment, and I'm getting my letter generated to Scentsy, I've been looking back, and back in the day, like 2015, 2016, 2017, there weren't as many LTOs. It seemed more simplistic, and I kind of miss those days sometimes. Anyway, let's go on to the scent. So scent number 1 for the week, we're going to revisit this from the holiday. It's Cherries Jubilee. From the holiday, scent number 2 is Cranberry Candy Cane. And also from the holiday, scent number 3 is Sleigh Ride. All right, scent number 4, I pulled Ursula, Poor Unfortunate Souls. This is available as an LTO right now in the license category. Also available in the license as an LTO is Monsters, Inc. Monstropolis. I gotta say, this is the best packaging I think Scentsy's ever done. I just love it. I could look at that all day. And to wrap things up, the scent of the month coming for October, it is Pumpkin Cashmere, scent number 6. So thanks for spending the last few minutes with me. Don't forget to vote. And if you have any opinions on what I said about LTOs, do you find that there's too many? Let me know too. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.